Welcome back as we get ready to highlight race number 12, the $5 million Kentucky Derby. It is the 150th edition. They'll go a mile and a quarter. And our selections are at the bottom of the screen. We'll touch on a little bit of our selections, but we've got 20 horses. Let's run through them, kind of what maybe we think. The one Dornoch is shipping over from the Bluegrass after finishing fourth. Luis Saez is back in the irons. Did win the Fountain of Youth down at Gulfstream Park, and we'll let you kind of touch on this one here.
Yeah, Dornoch, he's got speed, and he's going to have to fire from the rail, so I think that he's part of this early pace, and I don't know how much pace there is. There's a chance that there could be some. It's the Kentucky Derby, but he's got to break well. He's got to get to the front, but he just didn't race particularly well in the Bluegrass. I just don't see a form reversal here. Even the Fountain of Youth race is just too slow for me, so ultimately I just kind of ignored him in this spot, especially from the rail where it's very tough to win.
He's a teaser because Danny Gargan, the trainer, after the unexplained effort in the Bluegrass, said, I told the jock to take hold early. The horse hated it. We're giving him his head in the Derby. Now it doesn't matter because he's in the one hole. They have to give him his head because he could get trapped down in there. By the way, if he wins, we got some history here because you know who his full brother is?
Last year's Kentucky Derby winner.
Last year's Derby winner, Mage. So, and I heard he had a quarter crack, which is like a split nail on a human. And it's been patched up, and everybody says it's fine. So if it's fine, it's fine. But he'll be firing out of that one hole. Yep. He ain't waiting.
All right, 2 is Sierra Leone. Lots of conversations directed around this horse this week, the Chad Brown trainee. And this horse has won 3 out of 4 lifetime starts. Does have a win over the wet surface. Nothing here at Churchill Downs. What do you think?
Well, he's one of the 2 horses to beat, that's for sure. Yeah. And if speed was supreme all spring at Keeneland, him coming from 9th, stuck 10 lengths or so, he is the horse to beat. And this Gaffalione kid, he's been on fire. And Chad Brown hasn't won a Derby yet, so he's dying to win one.
Maybe
today could be the day. So, yeah, he's one of the, obviously the other one is the current favorite, but he's one of the horses to beat for sure.
Anything more on
Yeah, I mean, just when you have a horse that's a $2.3 million horse, you always have to pay attention to them, and he's shown up, and he's been all about the hype, and he's raced extremely well. He's gotten better each start. He'll get all of this mile and a quarter being a gun runner, so I think he's one of the horses to beat. I wish he drew outside. I don't love 2 because he's a deep closer. I'm worried that he's going to have to come from 17th, 18th, so he's going to need some pace, but there is a scenario, I think, with a couple of the horses that there could be, and I think he's the horse to beat.
All right, 3 Mystic. Dan picks up Brian Hernandez Jr. Does have a win over the Churchill Downs surface and a win over a wet track, so if by some craziness they get a little bit more rain this afternoon, Mystic Dan might be part of the play here.
And you can go look this up since you have nothing to do with it when we get done. It's Ken McPeak, the trainer, Brian Hernandez, the jockey. How many trainer-jockey combos have swept the Oaks and the Derby since they won the Oaks yesterday?
Let's hear it.
So this could, I don't know the answer to that, but if you're one of those people who believe in mysterious, superstitious stuff, in the bottom of the first page of the Racing Form today, there's an ad for Mage. And he's on the same page with Dornoch. There you go. There's your omen.
Maybe they did
Better
that on
bet
purpose.
some Dornochs.
Maybe they did that on purpose.
Well, it fit perfectly. Yeah, you're right.
Any other comments about Mystic Dan?
Yeah, his best race was over a muddy track, so I think McPeak's probably hoping for some rain, and they look to sweep the Oaks Derby double.
All right, number 4 is Catching Freedom, a Brad Cox trainee. Does have a win over the Churchill Downs surface and is entering off a win in the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby after finishing 3rd in the Risen Star.
Yeah, they talked about a little bit about this guy yesterday. I was watching the NBC feed, and Brad Cox said they found out maybe that this horse might just want to come from well out of it, and he was really wide coming down the stretch, but he was flying late, and he beat a good horse there. Anna Marie was taking some play already. So the Risen Star effort, he got beat pretty fair and square by Sierra Leone, though, so I just don't see where he's going to turn the tables on them. But you pick up Pratt and Brad Cox, usually a trainer that you don't want to ignore in big races. So I wouldn't be shocked at all, but I left him off the number.
On my Northfield sheet, I only pick 1, 2, 3s. I don't pick the 4th spot. But if I did pick the 4th spot, I would probably put him 4th just because I like the horse to win this race, who was 2nd to him in the Louisiana Derby. And it was impressive. He was wide and closing like a train to win the Louisiana Derby over a fast track.
Safi Joseph Jr. brings the 5 Catalytic in here. This is one of the more lightly raced horses. This horse has never missed the board. and we say never, but anything's possible, especially today. Did have a win as a 2-year-old, then was shut down. Only has 2 races this year, was second in both the optional claiming event at Tampa Bay Downs and in the Grade 1 Florida Derby to Fierceness, and we all remember how good of an effort that was. Catalytic? Yes, no, maybe it's going to take some work.
I'm not using him, but he was second to, if you want to call it, beaten 13.5 lengths second, but he was second to Fierceness, so, and that's what Jose Ortiz picked up the mount, so we couldn't find anything better to ride, so I'm not going to use him.
Yeah,
Okay.
he clearly improved in that effort. It's just, where is he going to make up 13 lengths in 1 month? So I just think he's a little overmatched here, but maybe there's some talent there. That was a pretty good effort to dig in to be second in that spot. Nobody else ran home from the back, so thought he raced well, but just this spot's probably too tough.
6, Just Steel enters off a second place finish to Muth in the Arkansas Derby, was 7th in the Rebel, so clearly improved a lot, Kenny, over the last couple of starts. Does have a win over the Churchill Downs surface.
Yeah, his trip in the Rebel was awful. He was 5 wide on both turns, so you can just pretty much, no horse is going to win off of that. But the Arkansas Derby, he raced very well, and Muth is the current favorite for the Preakness right now, so no reason to be mad about finishing second there. He raced well. The pace wasn't that slow, and he hung around. He was a part of it. Finished second. That was Keith Asmussen's first time on him, and this is a long shot that I'm going to be using with Sierra Leone for sure.
Okay. 7, Honor Marie. This is a horse. You and I were just talking about this horse coming up the stairs, and no offense, Bob, but we were talking about all the hype surrounding Honor Marie. There's been a lot of talk over the last, say, 48 to 72 hours about this horse.
He's taken a ton of play.
He's taken a lot of money. He is a horse for the course, as you say. He is your your top pick. So I'm going to let you touch on Honor Marie, but this horse loves Churchill Downs, so maybe that's part of it.
He's won a stake there. He won the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes last fall there, so you know he likes to track.
Yep.
And then he went down to Louisiana, and he ran 5th in the Risen Star in the slop, his first start since the Kentucky Jockey Club, so he was off the bench for that one. And then I just thought the horse really ran big in the Louisiana Derby to be second, beating a length. He Catching Freedom was not pulling away from this horse. This horse was hanging in there with him. And then just to show, which probably put me over the top on him, was I like horses who love and work well Derby week. And this horse worked 5/8 of a mile in 59-1 on April 25th. So he just reaffirmed his love for Churchill Downs. He kind of carries his head kind of funny at times, but I know 20-1 was too high. He's never been 20-1 in his life. So I put him on top, and there was one disturbing statistic I saw. 8 of the last 10 horses to cross the finish line first in the Derby have raced on or near the lead. He is not going to be on or near the lead, so we're going to have to. Of course, Mage wasn't on or near the lead. He's one of the horses of the 2 that didn't hawk the pace. So, and the other one was Rich Strike, right, coming from the parking lot.
Thanks for that reminder.
Oh,
appreciate
why,
that.
did you bet him or
No,
you
I
beat
needed
him?
Epicenter.
Oh, jeez, yeah, that's bad news there. But
I was at a wedding for that too.
Well, that'll ruin a reception.
I couldn't even root for the race. Had to just be quiet.
The real question is, were you watching the race as the wedding was going on?
They were singing a song to the wife, and yes, my phone did have the.
I love it.
Derby
I
on.
love it.
So that's my pick.
Honor Marie, any more comments? Or
Listen, I'm not going to knock anybody that likes anything in this spot. The more I look, maybe I'm missing something, and he can certainly show up. I don't particularly like him, but I guess I also didn't like Catching Freedom, so I just wasn't sure how strong that Louisiana Derby really was. I guess that's my
I
issue
did
with
go
it.
over, I wanted to know about the horses at the fairgrounds, so I went over every chart from the Keeneland meet. And Fairgrounds horses had a real good spring at Keeneland, so that made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
fair enough.
And I'm sure he probably needed the ones. That's probably why the poor effort in the Risen Star. So he clearly stepped forward off of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna knock anyone to.
By the way,
12,
the trainer
15-1.
Beckman, they go, who the hell is this guy? He did his apprenticeship under 2 trainers that everybody knows, Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher. That's who this kid learned under. The jock's another story. The jock is from Ireland in England. He didn't want to spend the winter in England, so he went to the fairgrounds for the winter.
And now he's got a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, he rode like 30 winners at this meet. So this guy can obviously, and he's no kid either. I think he's in his early 30s, so he's not going to panic.
All right. Number 8, Just a Touch. Kenny, I'm going to let you touch on this one because you have this horse picked second. Has not missed the board yet this year. Brad Cox trains. Florent Giroux is going to be riding. I'm going to let you maybe talk about the works. Just been kind of mediocre as of late, but What did you see here with Just a Touch?
Yeah, so 2 of the last 5 Derby winners have won with only 3 starts. Justify, which is his father,
Okay.
and then Mage last year. So lightly raced with the new kind of era of training, I think, is a way to go. He's gotten better with distance. He was a part of that fast pace in the Bluegrass. It didn't exactly collapse as Epic Ride, who we might get to later. He also hung around, but that was a very fast pace. Now, I know the track was probably playing to speed, but he took a step forward. The effort in the Gotham, he was wide on the course. So I just thought that the Bluegrass was a strong race, and if he can get the mile and a quarter, he's going to be in that second flight of horses, and he could get first crack at the leader, and maybe he has the lead turning for home. And he dug in. He fought on last time. So I just thought he was a price horse that I'd want to use here in the spot. So let's go with him.
All right. 9 in. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just
You
going to say,
have
though, I don't have this horse, but he scares me. I'm going to get some savers on him because Giroux and Cox, the combination is just kicking butt this weekend at Churchill.
9 Encino is out. The 10 TO Password, and we were talking a little bit off the air about some of the Japanese horses. In fact, one of the Japanese horses raced lights out yesterday. I believe you both saw this horse, correct?
Yeah, T.O. St. Denis. He was in
Right.
the Ali Shiba, and it's the same connections. Not that they're not siblings. The horses aren't siblings. The owner is T.O. I'm assuming that's why he names him that way.
Yep.
But that horse went on a full send mission, and he had the lead until about the 16th pole. And the horse that beat him first mission, Brad Cox's horse, it took a big effort for him to beat T.O. St. Denis. And these two worked together back on April 30th, and this horse clearly was the better one in the workout. Now, maybe the other horse just isn't a good worker. I don't know. It's only one workout. But this horse is 50-1. He's got speed, and his workout was lights out just a week ago. So at 50-1, he might be worth throwing in for $1 or $2.
Talk about lightly raced. 2 career starts,
Right.
and he only won 1 stake race to get into this race in the Japan Road to the Derby.
They got that win in your in. That was one of
Yeah,
those
he
win
won
in
that
your
win
in
in your in.
races. That's how that happened. Yeah, I don't know anything about him, but if you move to the 11,
Yep.
this is the talk horse.
That's my
This is the
pick.
Japan
That's the
horse to talk
Japanese
about.
horse, Forever Young. This is your top pick.
This is my top pick.
Well, he's got to scare you because you talk about a horse that doesn't need to carry his racetrack around. 5 starts, 5 wins in 3 countries on 5 different racing tracks.
It's hard to argue
I'm
with that,
not-
right?
And he's
I
gotten
mean,
better each start.
And he's gotten better with every start.
Did you see his workout? They would jog him in the morning. There was a
Yeah, it was no
on your
good.
phone. You could see the
Yep.
Churchill feed in the morning live on I don't know, with Twitter. The jock would take the horse, and the fans were in the stands watching the workouts. I've never seen this. He would walk him right against the rail, and fans were petting this horse as he's getting ready for the Kentucky Derby. I've
Oh,
never
my
seen that.
gosh.
Most trainers would jump out of their skin if people were petting their horses.
I know his race in the Saudi Derby was very good to run down. Bookham Dano was a nice horse, and then the UAE Derby, he was wide on both turns, and he just kind of drew off. So yeah, he completely scares me. The Japan horses have seemed to run since they've started showing up the last few years. That's kind of why that's kind of the only reason I would use the other one. But yeah, Forever Young, clearly one of the horses to beat, and the horse last year raced well with a bad trip in the Derby, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if this horse was Japan's first Kentucky Derby winner.
There you
Now,
go.
something to touch on after you talked about different racing surfaces and what. It's raced on 3 fast tracks and 2 tracks that have been listed as good over in Japan. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the fast track in the Kentucky Derby. It could be a little bit of an off track. Which who forgets Thunder Snow? Your race was over after about 20 seconds
Yeah.
a few years
Wow.
ago, and then of course he comes on to beat me in several other races throughout
never
his
know.
career. So.
Thunder Snow's a nice horse.
Thunder Snow was a very nice horse. 12 track Phantom, Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario has hit the board in every start at Churchill Downs. Has only missed the board once in his life. They put the blinkers on today.
I went and looked up this horse's breeding. I don't think this horse is going to like a mile and a quarter, but he's got a job. If you're trying to beat fierceness,
Yep.
this horse has a job. Run with him as long as you can and as hard as you can. He'll be up there punching early, that's for sure. So, but I'm not going to use him.
I don't think he's going to go a mile and a quarter. He quit last time with a pretty easy lead and let the closers run by. So, but Steve Asmussen, you always have to respect him, and they put the blinkers on, so maybe he thinks that's the difference. I don't know. I just think he's a little, and he's taking no play, by the way. He's
No.
like 40-1 right now.
Yeah.
So.
Another horse I don't think is going to get the mile and a quarter is the 13 West Saratoga. Has just absolutely flattened out in the last 2 starts. Jesus Castellan picks up the ride here once again after riding in the Sam F. Davis Stakes, a Grade 3 at Tampa, and the Jeff Ruby Stakes, a Grade 3 at Turfway. This is going to be a tough.
Well,
trip
don't
for
shed
him.
any tears. They bought this horse at the sales for $11,000, and he's made 400. He's made 460,000. So they're having a good year already.
Yeah, it's a feel-good story. Is it going to be 2 years in a row with a horse out of the, or 2 out of the last 3 years out of the Jeff Ruby?
I don't know.
Be tough.
Right.
Tough.
All right, 14 is Endlessly. Speaking of the Jeff Ruby Stakes, here's Endlessly.
The winner out of it.
30-1 on the morning line. Mike McCarthy is the trader. Umberto Rispoli.
Interesting
is the
note on
rider.
this horse.
Go ahead.
6 career starts. This will be his first ever race on dirt.
Interesting.
He's run on the grass 4 times and 2 times on the synthetic. He's never been in a race on dirt.
What sorry.
He particularly hasn't worked very well on the dirt either, so I just don't know that he's really a dirt horse. It's kind of like they're going to take a shot because they won the Jeff Ruby, and it just feels like, Oscar Performance was clearly a turf horse. I just think this pedigree is all turf and poly. But, I respect him for taking a shot.
Yeah.
But
One thing I do like about this horse is they shipped him from Golden Gate after winning the El Camino Real Derby over to the East Coast to take on horses on the East Coast. They didn't just stay on the West Coast and face those kinds of horses. But then again, maybe they knew they couldn't do anything in the Santa Anita Derby. Who knows? And that's,
Well, they wanted polytrack. They wanted more synthetic. That's because Golden Gate and Turfway both are that.
Yes.
I have a feeling this horse is right after this Derby is probably going to end up right back on turf. That's
you'll
my angle.
He'll
That's
be
my
at
opinion.
Del Mar this summer running on the turf. Yeah.
You know who sort of followed this path? Barbaro.
Well,
He
but he
started-
won the
he started
Florida
on the
dirt.
turf.
But
He won the Florida Derby,
Right.
but he started his career on turf. He
Right.
went to Calder
Oh, yeah.
and was on turf.
Yes.
And then
Animal Kingdom, another one
Animal
we talked
Kingdom,
about earlier.
another
Right.
one. So.
Right, he was poly. Right.
15 domestic product. Irad Ortiz Jr. picks up the mount for the very first time on this Chad Brown trainee. Has not been working all that bad. Is the Tampa Bay Derby winner after being second in the Holy Bull.
Isn't it something that the 2 Ortiz brothers who dominate racing are both on 30-1 shots in the Kentucky Derby? I was at Tampa Bay Downs that day with my friend Ronnie, who's downstairs watching this, and Pete's other buddy is next to him. But they told me if I didn't mention their names, I couldn't come back in the room after the
And
seminar.
you didn't get the bet down there.
That's exactly what I was about to say. We couldn't bet this race because the totes got all jammed up.
Yeah.
It was a betless exhibition, and it took forever to make that decision. Right.
This is a horse that I don't know if I didn't mean to interrupt there, but
No.
this horse raced well with 2 completely slow paces that he's not going to see today. So he's going to be a little further
right.
back probably than it looks like. But he outworked Sierra Leone when they worked together the other day. So domestic product, Chad gave him the freshening since March. Everyone else kind of coming in.
Beaten handily in the Florida Derby, but was third, only beaten a neck in the Tampa Bay Derby, Bob.
To
So
domestic product.
Right.
Right. So they brought him back awfully fast, didn't they?
Yep.
Here they are
Well,
again.
they needed the points to get
Yeah,
in, so they took
right.
a shot. And hats
Yeah.
off to them for doing it because they got the points by being third
Right.
in the Florida Derby. So
I'm not using them.
I'm not using them
not
either.
use them either.
All right.
All right,
Now the
17
horse we wanna talk
is the prohibitive favorite, potentially, is the Fierceness. Todd Pletcher trains John Velasquez, trying to win another Kentucky Derby. I believe his last one was Animal Kingdom, correct?
I believe you're right.
Does that
I think
sound
so.
right to you?
No, he won on Always Dreaming.
Always Dreaming.
Oh, that's
That was
right.
the other
That's
one.
right.
Somebody asked Tom Durkin about that one. But won the Florida Derby by 13.5 lengths. Won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile by 6.25 lengths. The only real kind of slip up was in the Holy Bull. He just didn't have it first off the layoffs. Guys, what do you think here?
I'll let you guys touch on him. I got a lot of negative on him, so.
Go ahead. I'm not a fan, personally.
Well, he's
but-
never won. He doesn't pair winning efforts, as you could see.
Yes.
You win, lose, win, lose, win. I guess he'd be due for another loss. He works okay. I put him second just because
I put him third.
I don't know how to gauge
I
this
put him
horse.
off the number.
Good for you.
Well, a lot
You
of
threw
people,
him out.
if you got the racing form, a lot of guys says, I ain't picking them 1 through 5. They just pitched them, completely pitched them.
Well, but as a handicapper, this is a horse that you either, if you like him even a little bit, you either have to single him in your picks and things like that, or you have to completely get rid of him because he's going to be such a short price. It's hard to. I mean, granted, there's a lot of money in the pools, but he's going to be such a short price.
I think there's no doubt if he runs the Florida Derby, he wins the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
I think everybody can agree on that. The problem is he's never backed it up. He's not going to get an easy lead.
Well, that's the key.
He had breaking issues in the Holy Bull. His 0 for 1 on a wet track. It was terrible in the Champagne.
Right.
There's just too much for me not to like him. And if he's going to be 5-2, 3-1,
Okay.
and I can beat him,
Why not?
why not take a shot?
Any other comments?
No, but it's just good. Well, I just hope he gets tested early. I don't want him to get out there and go 48.5, being in front by 2 lengths. He's going to have to go from the 17 hole. He can't wait too
16
long.
hole.
16 hole. Well, they have a choice. They could leave a couple holes open on the inside. They could start loading.
They
in
actually will probably push everybody out because
They might leave him in the 17
Oh no,
hole.
there's still
huh?
20 horses because the 21's
Right.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So.
All
We'll
right,
see.
18 Stronghold is coming off of a win in the Santa Anita Derby. Does have a win over the Churchill Downs Surface. Stronghold.
Broke his maiden there.
Any real opinion?
I liked the race that he ran in the Santa Anita Derby. I just thought it was too slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought he raced well. He just seems he hasn't even broke 90 yet, and you got Fierceness at 110. So it's going to take 100 to win the Derby. Is there a 10-point improvement coming? I don't know.
He's had 2 good workouts at Churchill Downs, but I'm not gonna. If he beats me, he beats me. I'm not betting him.
19 Resilience. This is your guy, Bill Mott. Junior Alvarado picks up the mount here. Has not missed the board at Churchill Downs. Was a winner of the Grade 2 Wood Memorial.
Yeah. Well, the Wood Memorial used to be the benchmark for prep races for the Derby.
Not so much.
But man, it is not anymore, and so I don't like this horse. I'm not betting this horse.
Any?
Yeah, I'm ignoring the horse to the Wood Memorial too. I mean, no offense to the connections, but how good was the race that 107 to 1 shot second? There was a spill in the race that took out a couple. So I'm not sure how strong that race really was. No horse from New York has particularly done well in the last few derbies, so I'm kind of ignoring both of these guys.
20 Society Man was in the Wood Memorial as well. We talked about that. This is a really, really big step up. The Grade 3 Withers was 8th, beaten 15 1/4 over a muddy surface at Aqueduct. It's going to be tough for Society Man here.
Well, if you don't like the winner, it's kind of hard to like the 20
20.
horse. Yeah, right.
You do pick up Frankie, though, on the 20, so
That's
maybe
true.
worth something.
Could
Maybe
be
there's
that
Frankie
fly-
magic there.
If he's in the winner's circle doing a flying disc mount, I'm going to jump off the press box ledge.
All right, and the 21 is Epic Ride. Enters off a 3rd place effort in the Bluegrass and a 2nd place effort in the Jim Battaglia Memorial.
John Battaglia.
John Battaglia,
He used to be the
excuse me.
general manager at Turfway, which before that was called Latonia. And his son was Mike Battaglia, the track announcer.
Correct.
And I think still does the line.
Yes.
For Churchill
Yes,
Downs.
yeah,
Mikey.
he made the Derby line.
Right. Now, wouldn't that be something if he lands on the ticket? These are the kind of horses that end up on the Tri and the Super.
Yep.
And you say, well, what the hell? Why didn't I use him? He was right behind Sierra Leone in Just Touch. Well,
Yeah,
use
he
him.
hung around part of the fast pace. So.
Yeah, use him.
All right, so
Final thoughts?
Derby selections. Give us your top 3 or 4.
I went with the 7, Honor Marie. I put Fierceness, who these guys wanted to throw over the bridge, 2nd, and Sierra Leone 3rd. So I went 7, 17, 2.
I'm 11, 2, 17, and 7, and you are?
I'm going to go 2, 8, 11, 15. Got to
There you
respect
go.
the Japan horse.
All right. Lots
you
of
go.
great things coming up here at MGM Northfield Park. We've got a food truck festival, live bands
Yeah,
and
I'm
music.
hungry. Can we
Yeah,
get
we need to go get some of that food. Our Race to Riches drawings continue throughout the rest of the afternoon. Our noon drawing is coming up. Thanks so much for checking out the handicapping seminar. We'll be back for the Preakness Stakes, right, fellas?
Go cash, Railbirds.
All right, guys. Good luck at all of your wagering strategies, and we'll see you back here for the Preakness.